Guys, Josh from Dodgy Dailies here, and I have bought myself another car. Finally, right? It's only been long enough since I blew up the ute. The new car in question happens to be a VE wagon. Just put some SS wheels in it. I heard a knock, so I replaced the control arms and the link pins. And the wheels that it came on were just absolutely horrendous. Oh, doing an alternator at the moment, so I actually can't get in there. You can't see in there. I have had to take the tint off to get some defects cleared, and then it's going for a blue slip next week. To show you the wheels that it came on after I put this all back together, because my dumbass closed the boot and you need the battery connected to open the boot, so I'm going to have to try and crawl through past all the tyres. Yeah, I'm going to have to probably rip the baby seats out, which is going to be difficult. Climb through and connect that battery back up, so then we can get into the boot. Actually, can you see? Yeah, there you go. That's the wheels it came on. Now, those wheels looked absolutely terrible on this car, but when I bolted them up to the Beamer, they actually didn't look too bad on that, so they're probably going to get used on that. They are a bit heavy, but I want to change everything from 16s, and I want to try and sell the green wheels, the Style 66s. I'm going to repaint them, refurbish them a bit, so then they actually sell, because they've already been on Marketplace for like 12 months, and I've had one offer that was a stupid offer. This thing is meant to get me to and from Bathurst. It has timing chain lights, so that's going to be a later video when I get home from Bathurst. If I get home from Bathurst. This defect is for window tint. I've left these ones on for privacy reasons because I will be sleeping in the back of it, but I've taken off the rest of the windows, and it got defected for no mufflers as well, which I've bolted them back on because this thing just sounded like arse. I've never wanted to put mufflers back on a car before, but this is one car that I wanted to. And when I go get my blue slip, I'm going to go see about getting some exhaust tips welded on, just some twin tips, just to make it look nice, because in reality it's not that bad of a car. It's got a bit of paint fade, a couple of little dents here and there, but I'm not really too fussed. Now the alternator died, so last night I was driving home from work after I put new caster arms, new control arms and new link pins, which in reality, I didn't have to do all of that, but I heard a knock and I couldn't be bothered to diagnose it, so I just bought everything. And then the alternator died on the way home. Now, what happened was this clutch, actually no, wrong alternator, that's the new one, well, second-hand one. But this clutch here, you can sort of, I don't know if you'll be able to see it too well. Yep, you can see them spinning. That clutch is doing nothing at all. And I could have probably gotten away with just changing the pulley, but I didn't want to run the risk of that alternator actually being bad still and then being stuck, because I'm getting a blue slip on Wednesday. Now, this is what a good alternator does. It's a bit harder to see, but it actually stops. Hear that? That clutch is engaging, that one's not. So another simple way to do it is you can stick a screwdriver, don't go in too far, but you can see that is still spinning and the clutch isn't actually doing anything. So, and you've only got to be very, very gentle with it so you don't destroy anything internally. So if I just stick that screwdriver again into there, you can see that I can't actually turn that, and I'm not putting force because you don't need to. Yeah. Now, to do an alternator, it's on a VE, it's fairly simple. You take the air tube off. We don't actually even have to take that off. I just took it off for room and so you guys can see. Then you grab a 1/2 inch breaker bar or 1/2 inch ratchet or whatever. There's your tensioner. Pop your belt off, and then when you actually get around to here, all you got to do is crack the nuts loose. You don't even actually have to take the nuts off. You've just got to crack the nuts loose, and then you take the whole stud out, because if you don't take the studs out, you actually can't get the alternator out because it hits on the body and the chassis. Now, I've also, you don't have to take the ECU and move it, but I have for the purpose of the video, and because I needed space. You don't have to take the ECU out, but I have for the purpose of the video. Plus, I just wanted to for a bit of space because I'm just using my basic hand tools. I don't have any of my fancy tools from work with flex head ratchets and ratcheting spanners and all that sort of stuff. I've literally just got basic 7mm, like really basic tools. Now, I did bring that one home and that's about it, but everything else is just very basic tools. I do have an OTR to go on it, but because it's a Series 2, well, I don't know if it's because it's a Series 2, but the OTR, it could also just be because it's a 3-litre motor instead of the 3.6 or 2 or whatever other motors are in these things. I don't know too much about Commodores. I literally bought it so I can drive to Bathurst. Again, it's in the boot, but as you can see, like, so the adapter, that bit there needs to be cut off, and then a adapter thing gets put on there. You can modify these to actually take, like, just cut a little hole somewhere to suit the rectangle MAF instead of the round MAF, but in this case I'm going to buy the adapter, and we'll do that in a whole nother video. Be getting window tint put back on this thing, but I will not be going with that 5%. I'll probably just go with 25% for the rear windows. Front. New South Wales legislations have changed in terms of window tint, and that was purely because of new vehicles coming out with darker tint for the rear windows. So you actually legally are allowed to have 25% from the back door back, and then the front window has to be 35%. And I might do a tint strip here, and again, there's laws around that one. When the wipers come up, they can't hit the bottom of the tint strip, or I think it was 10% of the total window length. So it'll probably only be about yay big, but I still want to do it. So for the Beamer, I have ordered some lower control arms. I bought the Alibaba lock kit. Apparently a bunch of the joints fit the WiseFab stuff as well, so with any of the joints flog out, I can just get onto WiseFab and order replacement joints, or go to a local bolts and bearings and get replacement parts that way as well. This thing is still looking pretty sad for itself, but I'm at the stage now where I'm not really caring about looks. It's a complete car. It can run, it can drive. Put the angle kit in, throw a fuel pump in it, and it's ready to go. And I bought the mighty Commodore because it's got a tow ball. So it's a wagon for plenty of room to store tyres and stuff, sleep in the back of it. It's got the tow ball. I'll just have to, take it a bit easy when I'm towing. Unlike the Ute, my Ute probably had more power than this thing, or at least could handle towing a bit better. Again, I'm really not sure how it's going to go. I've only ever towed one Commodore before, and it was a Series 1 VE wagon when I had my Toyota Cressida about 7 years ago. Yeah. While I'm doing updates on my cars, this is the family Kluger. I've put on some nice family wheels, nice fancy wheels. They are reps. I got them for $500 direct from China. But because of where I live, I didn't want to go spending big money on good wheels to have possibly that get them bent or destroyed. Whereas reps, they can be just as good, and even if this one bends or breaks, it's going to cost me $130 to get another one. I've also put on some, I don't know if you can see it from here, not through there, not through there. Let's just stuff the phone in so you still can't really see what's going on. You sort of can. I've put on some BC Gold coilovers. So I put some BC Gold coilovers onto the family Kluger and lowered it just a little bit because we still need a bit of ground clearance. So I was going to do a video on the BCs, but I didn't get a chance to because I did them at work. Now, to fit BC coilovers to a Toyota Kluger, these ones are specifically made for a front-wheel drive vehicle, so you do have to modify that top bolt hole just a little bit to make these ones fit. When I fitted up the coilovers to this, I also put in I'll try and miss the bindies. I also put in new control arms, new drive shafts, new link pins, new rack ends, new tie rods. So basically this Kluger handles like it's brand new again. And I do have adjusted or stiffening, so if I do need to tow with it, I can stiffen up the rear end so it's not so bouncy. I did tow with it last night when this broke down, and I didn't play with any of the settings on the coilovers, and it just told me basically the trailer I used was built to carry an S15, and well, a Commodore is much larger than an S15, so it did get a bit tail happy, but maybe with a different trailer it'll tow a bit better, or if I played with the settings. But where I towed from, I was only literally 10 minutes from home when this thing died on me, so I wasn't too concerned with getting it set up correctly. I just needed to go that 10 minutes home, so I in the end just ended up going 50 k's the whole way home. Anything over that and it started to want to slap, so I wanted to avoid that. But anyway, let's crack back into the alternator, and I can show you how to test a bad alternator, and we'll test for a good one, because once this is all back together I'm going to have to do some testing. I've also got to do heater hoses, because I can't really see it the best. Oh, a little bit on that back one. Let's see if I can bring that camera just a touch. There we go. Still not the greatest, but you see there's some pink staining around that. And when I'm going up the hills through Lithgow, that is going to be a weak point where it can blow, and I do not want that. So, yeah, so to put the alternator back in, I do need two hands to get the stud started while I hold the alternator from underneath. So I'll come back in just a minute. So, sorry I couldn't show you how to do that, but you need two hands. Basically, hold the alternator underneath it, and then you can twist them in. Now, if you've got a stubby ratchet, or a short, if you've got a short quarter drive, 7mm, you'll be able to get them in. I don't know where mine is, so I'm stuck with doing this a little bit at a time with a spanner until I can get this in there. These studs don't actually have to be like insanely tight, because as you tighten up the nut, it'll pull on the stud anyway. You want the threads to do the work, you don't want the stud to do the work. So you'd rather have the stud that, yeah, get that back on there. See, and you just sort of push it with a finger. Cool, and that'll do. That's nice and that's snugged up. It's not tight, and that's all you got to do for all of them. I've got to do the other two now. You got your studs all the way in. Just go ahead and put your nuts onto the three. Go ahead and put the nuts onto the three studs, and then tighten them down. Now it's easier to show you on this one because it's not in the car and there's not a bunch of stuff in the way. So it sits like that in the car. Down the back will be a 12mm nut that your power wire goes to. Do not forget to put that on, because you will blow the alternator fuse if you try and put it on after you connect the battery. And then there's also the plug that's hidden around the back as well. Now to get down to those, this is pretty much the only reason I bought the electric ratchet home with me, is because it's down there and there's not much room to move your hand. And then that plug goes into the side and you reach your hand around from the front or the back, however you want to get to it, and you'll be able to plug that in. So I'm doing that one up now, and then I should be ready to put the rest of it back together. So I've got them put in now, got the button, got it all buttoned up. So grab this one literally just goes into that groove down there, slip that in. I said slip that in, and that's in. Now this ECU, come on, play nice. There we go. Came out it this way. There we go. So that'll sit in a groove. That'll sit in a groove at the bottom. Then just clips in up top. So let's try and get that in now. I might need two hands for this because it's just not playing nice. Oh, there we go, got it. And then push, and cool. And now that is clipped back in there, clip back in there, and there. And now it's time for the belt. Now, whenever you take a belt off, I highly suggest drawing a diagram or taking some photos. I've taken some photos, and I've left the belt most of the way on too, so because I didn't really need to take it the whole way off. Now again, I need 2 hands to put the belt back on. To put the belt on, pull on the tensioner. I always leave the water pump one to last because it's the smallest pulley and it's the easiest to slip on over the top. This one here, the alternator, you've got to kind of do first. So, and same as the AC. The power steering, you could probably leave that one if you want, if you've got a second person to help, but I've always just found it easier to go off the water pump. Now, this is why I suggest taking photos or videos, because as you can see, the belt is a bit of a spaghetti on these ones. It's sort of up, down, round and round. So, unless you've done them like 100 times and you're going to remember where it goes, but it's always easier just to draw a diagram down. Finally, put your air tube on, and then you can reconnect your battery. So, once you reconnect your battery, you'll then be able to test everything. But I'm just going to do these heater hoses off camera real quick, and then try and climb my way into the boot, and then I can show you how to test an alternator. See, normally what I would do is I would put a jumper pack from here for just a second to put power to the back there and get the boot open, but the jump starter is also in the boot, so that's why I have to crawl through to find it. So on these VEs, you'll have a little bit of a loss because it's from all the way at the front to a distribution block all the way back of the car. So, or at least, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure, or the Utes might not have so much of a loss because they're behind the back seat. But basically you want to set your multimeter to volt. You want to set it to the 20, and I'm just going to stick that in. So you put one in your, try and do this one-handed. Okay, that's not going to work, so let's see if I can stuff that one in there. There we go, that one's stuffed in there. So it's obviously not going to be the best reading either because I'm doing this with one hand. But we're getting 13.6 volts. Now that's still reasonable, that's pretty good. So then we want to go to check for loss in that cable that goes from front to back. We need to now go to the alternator, and you want to sit, so again, not going to be easy to get back there, but you want to see at least 13.8 to 14.3, I think it was, from directly at the back of the alternator. Now you want to get your red one down the back there, and your black one can just go to anywhere that's metal, as long as you can get it to get a good, well, maybe not the rocker cover there, but try and find a bracket. Now I could probably even just go off whatever this is. It looks like some sort of vacuum pump. Just go off a bracket for that. And there you go. So I'll just stuff that in there. Let's see if I can get down here. Without burning my hand on the exhaust. That's the difficult part. Okay, and we are... Alright, we're on. And I'm not getting a good reading at the moment because the earth isn't the greatest right now. So now I'm getting 14.2, which is absolutely ideal, and that's exactly what you want off the back of an alternator. Okay, now you want to put that rubber boot back on because it does get quite hot back there. And if you want to be extra special, you come over to here, and you can also Come on, give me that. You can also just test it off here as well to make sure that we know we're getting decent voltage to the back, but you can also test it off the jump starter point. Again, I need, hang on, let's try and just jam that. Jam that in there. Stick that there. Okay. There we go. Alright, so just off the jump starter point, we're getting 14.3, which is absolutely perfect. So, problem solved. On the VE Series 2, I've been told there's engineer mode in the heads-up display there. I don't know how to do that. I want to play around with that and figure it out at some point. I know it's a combination of pushing buttons, but for the moment, just going to use the scan tool, go into engine. I'm warming the car up after doing heater hoses. I really want to keep an eye on it until the thermostat opens and then get the cap on. So we've got a V6 SI-DI, I'm pretty sure it is. I'll need to double check that on the boot. It should tell me. Yes, it's an SI-DI. So like that's how little I know. That's how new to me this car is. That's how little I know about it. Obviously I've worked on plenty of Commodores. I figure it out. But this is how I figure stuff out. Is just look at things as I go. I bought that the other day. Haven't used it yet, but it looks like it might be a decent kit. Anyway, so we go into engine. Go to data analysis. And we want to go to cooling and HVAC. And then we're going to look at the engine coolant temp sensor. At the moment it's at 64. Now I'm also going to be watching fan relay 1 and 2 because I want to make sure that they're coming on as well. While I've had the circuit open. Also, make sure your heater's on. Full ball, as in as hot as it will go. Fan speed's not too important, but you want to make sure you get nice hot air out of there. So I'm going to let this run until it sees about 85, and then I'll put the cap on. Alright guys, so I'm almost done now, and thank you for watching where I'm up to on my vehicles and updates on my current shitbox. Thanks guys. Like, subscribe and share, please.